So yeah, someone stumbled into the rarest item in Diablo 4, and it looks like it's probably going to remain the most rare thing that has been discovered in this game. I'll explain in just a moment. Not as all as it appears, trust me. Plus, we're going to talk about new dev replies about the Necromancer and Druid. And we're going to talk about Season 1 overall, how there is one class in particular that is just outshining the rest of the classes, it seems. And is Season 1 boring? But we're going to start out with this one right here from Pat Rappa, who says this: what the hell is this supposed to be? There's nothing on it. And he discovered a sacred, unique staff. And as you can see, something is clearly very wrong here. Now, we did get further replies from the dev team on what exactly is going on here. Icy Veins touch base here. They said a bug in statless unique staff has been dropping for players in Diablo 4 Season 1, has now been disabled, and it may have been the new Uber unique. So this staff is officially disabled and you can no longer find it. So if you did discover this staff, you're one of the lucky few that has this weird weapon pretty much forever, because we have some new replies here from Adam Fletcher about what they're going to do about it further down the road. It says, it's not an Uber unique. Uber uniques have 820 item power and drop in World Tier 4 from 85 plus monster levels. Now, this was a placeholder item to test the art that got left in. And Jordan Savage says, did they get to keep the Mog after scrapping it or not? And Adam Fletcher says they do. So yeah, anyone that actually discovered this weird placeholder weapon actually gets to keep it. I'm wondering if they're going to reserve this for something in the future. So I'm thinking that we will see this reappear perhaps as a proper new unique down the road. So yeah, look out for that perhaps in upcoming seasons. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. All right, so we have this one right here. It says the following: hey, just FYI, the Necromancer talent imperfectly balanced won't accept more than 1 point, should be a 3 out of 3 node. And we have a reply here from Adam Fletcher, who says, yeah, this is a known issue that is likely going to be fixed in the future. And by the way, Rod Ferguson did also have a follow-up to this as well. He says the team is looking into it, but it's not hot fixable, so may take a little longer to fix. It's a bummer that this is something that has actually happened, and it's also a bummer to hear that it's not going to be fixed in an immediate hot fix. I'll let you guys know when the fix actually does make it into the game, of course. But we also have this one right here. It says, is this a bug or am I misunderstanding the Vicious Heart effect? It says, in addition, gain +3 to wolves, but I still only have 2 wolf companions. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video. There was some confusion about this. The +3s were only the rank, by the way. It's not that there's going to be more wolves on screen. But we do have a follow-up here with Rod Ferguson of Blizzard, who says, yes, I believe it's a misunderstanding. Check your skill tree and you should see 3 additional points in your wolf skill. It's not about number of wolves, but how many points you have in the skill. And Lose504 says, just checked and I still only have 1 rank in wolves. So if that's the case, not sure if this is working correctly still, just a heads up. And Ron Ferguson simply says, thanks, I'm forwarding to QA, appreciate it. So they're on it, they're aware of this problem. And yeah, the community was definitely correct about this one. You guys are absolutely on it. So your feedback is definitely changing the game. And yeah, the community has been very vocal about their experience with Diablo 4 Season 1 of the Malignant. So let's get into what was said here, because it seems like there's one class that is just right now far superior than the rest when it comes to the Malignant Hearts. So let's get into it. So it says, the balance nerfs are not the worst part of the season. They could revert it all, but, and this one comes from Blood ZX, who says this, the season would still be dead on arrival because it's boring. Malignant powers, some may be effective, but hardly noticeable or interactive outside of the super ones. Even then, some of those aren't that noticeable. Furthermore, they say malignant enemies, as far as I know, because I'm only level 45, don't do anything. They're just reskinned NPCs in a reskin cellar with the word malignant tacked on. Yeah, you know, if I can like expand on that a little bit, the malignant tunnels for me are a bit underwhelming. They're just pretty much caves with some infected looking things going on. But for me, I was expecting a little bit more with this. And again, you know, they have stated that Season 1 is going to be the smallest season that they are going to be offering. they have got to offer us a lot more when it comes to seasons to make them more interesting in the future for sure. Now, goes on to say this one right here. For comparison, Path of Exile had a season, the last one I remember playing, where you touch an obelisk, a second dimension would start spreading out from it, and the mechanic was to race to the edge of the expanding dimension and slaughter as many enemies as possible, trying to find the boss before the expansion ended. That one mechanic had several in it, a type of speedrun, time trial, positioning, build diversity, do I go kill all mobs or build an elite boss nuking, which changed how you played that mechanic. That seasonal mechanic was 2 years ago in Path of Exile. Here we are, a AAA game that's $70, and their new season is, here's reskin gems that do something slightly different. Sorcerer enchantments may have more functionality than the entire seasonal mechanic. If Blizzard reverted the entire balance patch, the season is still dead on arrival because there's simply nothing new, save for maybe 1 to 3 aspects that lets a class or 2 possibly have 1 or 2 different skills they can viably use now. Whoopee. So yeah, this one got a lot of upvotes, so I'm assuming that most of you feel like some of the season is underwhelming, that there's a few shining points to this season. And when I mean a few, I'm talking about only a couple classes really benefit from the season. In particular, the Necromancer really has some cool stuff going on. So check it out right here. It says, for those wondering in Diablo 4, this Heart for Necromancer will trigger Corpse Explosion if on your bar every second and Corpse Tendrils every 3 seconds roughly, without triggering the cooldown of it. It is absolutely insane. And everyone's talking about this particular part right here. But beyond that, this is the highlight. From what I'm seeing currently, this is definitely the highlight of Season 1. They've really put a spotlight on the Necromancer in particular. And I feel like every class should have something like this, you know? For example, we have the Barbarian over here. It says, Barbarian Hearts put me to sleep. This was posted by Longtime Lurker, and he gives some examples of what you can expect. We have the Caged Heart of Focus Rage. After spending 160 Fury within 2 seconds, your next non-basic skill's critical strike chance is increased by 20 to 30%. That's, honestly, that is just a snore. That's boring. Caged Heart of Resurgent Life, while below 40 to 60% life, you receive 50 to 60% more healing from all sources. Now, in my personal opinion, some of the worst RPGs out there only have these powers, so-called powers, that only raise percentages and don't do anything that's actually valuably cool or on screen where you can actually go, wow, that's a really cool looking effect going on. And it also adds a lot of power to my character. These hearts right here are only like percentage increases. That's it. That is not very exciting whatsoever. And if we take a look at this one right here, what is described as the Super World Tier 4 Heart for the Barbarian, it says incoming damage has a 5 to 15% chance of being ignored and instead healing you for 17 to 68. Again, that's not very interesting. That's just adding on values to the numbers. You know what I mean? It's not going to do anything particularly cool on screen. Come on now, like they could do a lot better than this, and they have to. In future seasons, they absolutely have to. With the Necromancer, it's actually doing something very, very cool that you can also visually see. It's changing some of the mechanics of your gameplay for the Necromancer, and it makes it fun. So that's the stuff that needs to spread throughout all classes, not just 1 or 2 with each season. But, you know, we have this post right here. It brings up a good point. It says this right here. Casuals have a completely different view on the game. And this comes from Don Dante, who says, I just talked to a coworker. He thinks that it was a great patch overall. Nerfs, he doesn't notice them. His freshly created sorcerer on level 10 can one-shot everything. And even his level 88 sorcerer can do Nightmare Dungeon tier 31 without any issues. Quality of life, he doesn't know what that means. Overall, he's very satisfied with this patch. So you can see how diversified and split this audience actually is. I have noticed that there are some people that are actually enjoying Season 1. And listen, I did want to say, if you are enjoying Season 1, if you're finding something about Season 1 to enjoy, good for you. You should be able to enjoy it, of course. But, you know, someone brought up this point right here. It's an interesting reply from Auto Eliminated, who says, that's their target audience, to be honest. I noticed the changes on my main, and they didn't feel great. After creating a new seasonal character, though, I could not tell the difference. This was probably the intent. Yeah, exactly. I feel like they timed this patch, this nerf, widespread nerf, with the creation of your Season 1 character, because they were like, you know, they're also just going to have to create a new character anyway. Let's do the nerf right now. That's their assessment. And then also, again, I have the theory that they really wanted to try to funnel in as many people from the Eternal Realm into Season 1. But you know what? Season 1 is also stirring up some more problems, especially with inventory management. Check it out. I'm sure you guys have noticed this. So about that inventory tension, it's getting so much worse. This is one reason why I actually just want to go back to the Eternal Realm. Honestly, you know, I've started my new rogue character, and I'm like, you know, some of these malignant powers are just not interesting. But the one thing that I'm noticing is my inventory management is so much more worse than ever before. Why not just play in the Eternal Realm? Yes, I get the cool Battle Pass rewards, which, by the way, I will say this. I did get an outfit from the Battle Pass recently, and it was legit cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was very, very cool. But why this isn't offered in the Eternal Realm is just beyond me. It's just so dumb. You know, it would be such an amazing thing if they could just offer on both the Eternal Realm and Season 1. Why not? Just do it, Blizzard, in the future. I think it would help a lot, and you wouldn't have to worry so much about funneling people into Season 1, because it seems like for some reason the developers are kind of worried about that, in my opinion. Now, we also have this opinion right here. I think this is a great way to finalize this. It says, I expected the season to have a bigger impact on the world. I thought it would be something more like Helltide, some corruption which spreads around areas, turning every mob to some elite form, a zone boss, which is somewhere between World Boss and Lilith, cool new weapons, armor, etc. Instead, you occasionally find some elites you have to kill twice, elites which steal your resource, gyms which are rather meh for some classes, a boss which is mediocre, barely any mobs with a new effect, sometimes some yellow orbs on walls, parts using inventory space, a few special dungeons you can enter. That's not my idea of corruption, to be honest. Where is some actual world impact? It would have been so cool if they treated this like another Helltide event. I would be so down for that big time. Or even if this would affect the Helltides even more so. That would be awesome. Such a great idea. Kind of a missed opportunity. But I really hope that they're taking notes right now for season... Well, it would be Season 3, because Season 2 is probably almost finishing up development, by the way. Because they developed this stuff stacking, you know. Yeah, it would have to be Season 3 that any of our feedback would actually matter. That's what they've said. So get to it. Give your feedback in the comments down below what you would like to see for future seasons. Sound off for sure. But yeah, it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here on the screen in a future video. So let's see what you guys had to say. So it says, devs confirm it. Season 1 gets new buffs, renown changes, but there's problems. Check out the video if you missed it. Now we have this one right here. It says, I believe the guy was spot on with the time played as a new metric companies use to impress shareholders, since MAUs for mini games are hard to maintain nowadays. Proof that Diablo 4 is following this. I remember seeing a screenshot talking about how many millions of hours played, etc. Activision will do what it takes to drain players dry for money. They acquired Blizzard and added additional monetization for every single game. Gutting Eternal Realms to funnel people into Season 1 is so obvious, and it's such a scummy move. Agreed. And a lot of people also agree with that as well. And again, there's no point to it, though. Like I said, for me, like from business perspective, if you look at it from business perspective, why does it make sense to have the Battle Pass not on the Eternal Realm? I don't get it. Like, you are purposely limiting yourself from, you know, that audience. I don't understand. And then we have this one from Mark Benito 6811, who says, you are pretty optimistic about the entertainment value of the live stream. I suspect it will be very well scripted and designed around lecturing us about how we are not seeing the bigger picture and we don't appreciate what goes into changes, yada yada yada. Yeah, when you say it's well scripted, I don't know, like, their live streams are not well scripted in my opinion. Like, you will spend the first 10 minutes hearing about, like, colonoscopies, Britney Spears, and that sort of thing, and you're like, okay, can we talk about, you know, what we're here for? At least that's how I feel sometimes about their streams. All right, now it says also they probably made the nerfs about twice as heavy as they ultimately wanted them to be. That way they could say, we hear you, then walk them to where they actually wanted them, and everyone will be so grateful and fawning about how the dev team gets us. And will still be heavily nerfed, just not as bad as it was when the patch released. I don't know what disgusts me more, the level of manipulation the devs are attempting, or that fact that most people will likely eat it up and with a spoon. I suspect it might be time for me to find another hobby than gaming. The older I get, the lower my tolerance for BS, and I never really had much tolerance for that to begin with, LOL. So, you know, I find it where I have shifted my focus on like expecting these games to be absolutely perfect to getting entertainment value out of their mess ups. I kid you not, like, I don't know, there's something about it. I've heard there was a thread also on Reddit that mentioned, you know what, this has been the most entertaining screw up I've ever seen. Like, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and just be like, holy crap. So yeah, that's how I view it anymore. I guess you have to. It's a bummer, of course, that we have to do that, but it is what it is. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more updates about Diablo 4. I have you guys covered, and we'll see where Season 1 goes. I really hope that they fine-tune what they're doing with these malignant mobs. I want the mobs to be like tons and tons of malignant creatures coming at you. You know, that'd be very cool. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.